obvious switch. Well, Hearts not getting any smaller, I think it's fair to say. But for me, a much underrated player on the ground. Well established how good he is in the air, but runs that out, appeared to be being bundled, but Gordon Strachan's appeals for a foul go in vain. That's Houlihan. And Mackay. That's good play. Houlihan into a gap filled only by Nakamura in the end. Well, controlled play now from Celtic. Playing like a team who have this one. Here's Wallace inside to Varga. Cross here to McManus in his new right back position. Kearney got to that. All he could do was force the ball forward, but it's going to a Celtic player so frequently now, the loose balls. Here's Hartson. Now Wallace. Nimble play again from Ross Wallace. Lennon and Hartson together. It's a careless one. Well won though back by Lennon for Nakamura. That's Zurawski. Now Maloney. Lennon again. On the far side in space is McManus. The ball on his left foot for the cross. Well, that wasn't too bad. There was not much above the head of Hartson and Zurawski.
Yeah, it was a good whipped-in ball there from McManus. Just the two strikers had got themselves in there too early and got caught standing. But nevertheless, that's a super delivery from that man there. As you see, the strikers have got themselves in there now, just static. No run at the ball.
Easy there for Varga. Well, remember, the man of the match competition, Mark Hayden will decide that time up. And these are the numbers to call, the text address to use if you want to nominate your man and see if you agree, in which case you may win a signed shirt from that man of the match. Not instantly obvious, I would have thought this afternoon. Scratch of the head here for an adjudicator. Strong's in trouble, Lennon did well against him, but a good recovery made by the very experienced centre-back. Played so many good matches for Motherwell, 77 in all. Go back down south, Hull City, Boston. Well, Gordon Strachan still taking nothing for granted. Wants his team to continue sharp and busy. Good play by Nakamura, always space. Once he wants to play the ball wide there, Nakamura's involvement in the centre of midfield, for me, a key element of the second half.
He's always a tidy player. Nakamura always gets the ball, always seems to find a pass. Technically very sound. To receive the ball when he's under pressure with the defender.
Forward goes Wallace. Zurawski gives chase. Strong as the marker. Problem here for Roddy McKenzie, and it's turned wide by Petrov. Well, what do they leave for Roddy McKenzie, who's played very well generally throughout the match? Yes. What a mistake this is.
That's a bit of a lapse there from Roddy McKenzie, first touch. And that, you would have bet your house on Petrov rolling that into the back of the net. I think just a little miss hit here from the man. Yeah, just seemed to come off the heel of the boot there. A great opportunity.
Play by Maloney, he may go all the way himself here. Backtracked well by Walker, that's a free kick. Maloney will fancy this, I suspect.
Yeah, wind assisted here as well. The ball will be coming up and down pretty quick.
Nakamura had the first half opportunity in this sort of position, but it's a right-footed player shot this.
Scored one from this distance in the cup final a week or so ago. And you'll fancy this one.
scored a penalty kick, Maloney, the second Celtic goal this afternoon. And the referee telling the Livingston wall not to move prematurely. Here goes Maloney. Oh, he's very good at that. That wasn't far away.
Yeah, bitterly disappointed. He knows, yes, that was rubbish, he says. Yeah, he knew that was a great opportunity, and he knows he can do better from there.
Perhaps the wind made the difference there. He's keeping the ball up.
Yeah, disappointed, but that's how high he sets his standards. It's a good thing to see in a young player. Always striving to achieve very high standards.
Healy going in to take over there. That's Britton hoisting it forward straight ahead of Varga. These high balls, a waste of time really for Livingston with Aldi and Varga in there, and McManus also. Here's Dorrans turning into Nakamura. Free kick given. Nakamura's challenge on Houlihan. Well, this could be just about the last chance. It's a quickly taken free kick, and Dorrans couldn't pull the ball across. In fact, there only was one player in there, Sam Moore. It was a very difficult cross to deliver.
Yeah, that's when you know when to take a quick free kick or not take a quick free kick. You've got one player in the box. It needed to be set up. Just take your time.
A resigned look there, isn't there? A resigned look in the face there of John Robertson. This is Ross Wallace. Now Maloney. And it's Ross Wallace. Played forward there by Houlihan, cut off by Varga. Houlihan again. Very good footwork again from the Irishman. Hounded by another Irishman, Neil Lennon. Header across there by Walker, up in the air, awkward for Balde. Does well enough though in the end. Well, the game really killed off within 7 minutes of the start of the second half. Vladimir Romanov, an interesting spectator there in the stand. The president-to-be of Heart of Midlothian, the man who sacked Jim Duffy in midweek at the director of football along with Graham Ricks. Well, he's working for radio this afternoon, Jim Duffy, against the headphones. Houlihan held off there by Balde. Suravsky's header. Here he turns it back very well to Strong. This is Tierney. Well, I wonder why Vladimir Romanov is here. Is he talent spotting, you think, Mark?
Oh, just coming up all
add to the squad?
Yes, maybe. Just afternoon out from underneath the good lady's feet.
Well, having a look at his club's next opponents, who will be Celtic on the 5th of April. Next opponent in the league, that is. They've got a cup semi-final, of course, to come. Here's Hartson. Zarowski ahead of him. Zarowski held up here by Strong. Nasty bobble there on the ball. He's done well to control it and use Nakamura behind. All running Celtic's way at the moment. No real crisis at all defensively in the second half. And that's overshooting Hartson. So here's Dave Mackay for Livingston. Well, Houlihan fully expected a challenge from behind, I think, from Varga, but it didn't actually come. Gordon Strachan still not totally at ease about his team's performance. Now Britton. So Mackay cut up there by Varga. This is Wallace, and now Maloney. Lennon robbed neatly by Mackay. Well, a bit of work there for Boric. He hasn't done much to do in the second half. Saved one free kick a little time ago, and then that shot here after slack play by Lennon.
Yeah, but you say it's a half chance. Mackay just in there, but straight down that man's throat yet again. It's been pretty quiet second half.
Not far in the position in which he scored that terrific volley against Hearts, Mackay. It's good play from Healy. Healy's done well since coming on. Looks as though he could be a real asset to Livingston. The header away by Dorado. Lennon back here to Wallace. Well, the game going out a little bit in a whimper, sadly.
I would say Celtic never been really extended in the second half. First half, it was pretty even, Stephen. A number of chances for both teams. The second half, soon as the first goal went in, I think it was always going to be hard work for Livingston.
Well, the stuffing was knocked out of them then, wasn't it, really, by the first goal?
They had a game plan. I think trying to adapt from that initial game plan has been really difficult for Livingston. 2
additional minutes being added on. I don't think either side's too concerned about that now. Livingston know the die is cast, and Celtic quite content that the points have been won. Varga holding up Morrow there. Here's Zurawski. Can Celtic perhaps finish with a flourish here? Here's Hartson laying it back to McManus. All the switches to check inside on the left foot. Petrov. Now Varga. This is Lennon. Now Varga to Maloney. Drifting inside. Careless pass. Cut off easily by Tierney. Now it's with Healy. Richard Britton. Healy again. Dorrans against McManus. A miscue there as he tried to come up with a trick to go past McManus. Well, Lennon calmly wins it back for Celtic. The header away by Strong, came off Hudson, so that's a throw to Livingston. Well over the piece, I think. Celtic good winners in the end, Mark.
Yeah, I think second half especially. The first half pretty even, Stephen, as he said, but first goal goes in and it's been pretty comfortable. Celtic know what they're doing when they're in the lead. They just keep the ball.
And built up Livingston. John Maloney got the second goal from the penalty spot after Dion Dublin was fouled by Manu Dorado. But the opening goal was the killer. In 71 seconds of the second half, it was scored by Masik Zurawski. Neil Lennon was outstanding in that Celtic midfield, and there was no problem there for Celtic after they took the lead. So let's have a look at the opening goal here. Not good defending. Zurawski deadly with a finish. That was 71 seconds into the second half, and it was a killer blow to Livingston. This was the penalty, the tug there by Dorado on Dublin, and a deadly finish again from Sean Maloney, his 5th penalty out of 6, his 15th goal of the season. Roddy McKenzie performed heroics for Livingston. Neil Lennon performed well as the captain of Celtic. They march on to the title. The final score at Ammanville: Livingston 0, Celtic 2.
So Celtic are just one step away from the championship. They're 17 points ahead after today's win, and that means that they can seal it a week on Wednesday with their home game against Hearts. If they can win that one, they will have the championship even before the SPL has split in two. And as for Livingston, well, they're 9 points adrift, still at the bottom of the table with those 7 games remaining as well, 2 before the split. So massive battle for John Robertson and his team. Despite their spirit, despite their first half performance here today, they have it all to do if they're to close that gap. It looks like mission impossible at the moment, and it's for Celtic very much mission achievable in the next game against Hearts at Celtic Park in 10 days' time. 7-9 for them, 62 for Hearts. Celtic are almost there. Here's how it went today at Ammanville. Bottom against top. Did the home team have any chance whatsoever? Yes, they did. Richard Britton should have scored there. Great save by Richard Britton. Sam Morrow hit the crossbar, although he was offside at the time. John Robertson well pleased with the first half performance from his team. What's to think about for Gordon Strachan? All changed 71 seconds after the interval. Maciej Zurawski with his 18th goal of the season. With that penalty, Kenny Clark said yes, and that allowed Sean Maloney to step up and make it 15 for the season for him. And that was game over. No way back for Livingston. Another 3 points for Gordon Strachan and his team, and Celtic continuing on their relentless way to the Championship. With me in the studio watching it this afternoon, Craig Burley and Craig Levine. And it was all killed off really, Craig, wasn't it, in that 5-minute spell? Explosive burst from Celtic at the start of the second half, and there was no way back for Livingston.
Well, we spoke about half-time, about Livingston having to do the same again in the second half, but they were really caught with a killer punch straight after half-time. A little bit fortunate from Celtic's point of view. It was a scrappy goal, great finish from Zurawski again, it has to be said, but it worked its way in there. It took a couple of deflections on the way, and I think it was wasn't even a minute into the second half, and John Robertson, who was sitting just in front of us here in the stand, head in the hands, he knew it was going to be uphill from there. But to be fair to Livingston, they dug in, they kept working away, but there's a golf in quality. You know, Livingston sitting with 12 points, you know, Celtic sitting at the top of the league now with 79 points, coasting, and that's what they did today. When they got the two goals up, they coasted, and it was never in doubt after that.
I hate to give you credit for anything whatsoever, but during the half-time chat you did say that despite the plaudits for Livingston, despite what they'd contributed to the game, their general approach, they hadn't scored.
Yeah, it was vital. I mean, the evidence shows you that they lose goals, and they've lost too many goals this season, and they're always going to, I felt today, they're always going to lose a goal, and what they needed to do was score first. They didn't have anything to hold on to. And I think of the players, you seem to have more energy if you get in front in a match and you've got something to protect. Yeah, they're protecting a point, but if they'd taken their chance in the first half, I think you'd have seen a different Livingston at the start of the second half. Once Celtic scored, I detected an inevitability, if that's the right word.
Easy for you to say.
About the outcome, because the players dropped a notch, and Celtic found it too easy after that for me.
The Celtic captain was the man of the match, Neil Lennon, now with Scott Booth.
Neil, was that result ever in any doubt today?
Yeah, it was, for sure. First half, I thought Livingston played really well today. They had a right good go at us, and you know, from our point of view, we maybe a wee bit sloppy at times, but with a purple patch just after half time that obviously we reaped the dividends from. So in that respect, we're absolutely delighted with the 3 points today, and we know if we beat Hearts in 10 days' time, we'll be the champions.
Was the first half result of a long, hard season, do you think?
Possibly, I don't know. Maybe we just the clock's going forward. We were still in our beds an hour earlier, you know. But it's a difficult pitch today, and the conditions were difficult, so it wasn't conducive to playing really good football. But sometimes you just have to grind it out, like, you know. And I thought that we did that today.
It was an explosive start to the second half. That's exactly what you wanted, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we just thought we could step it up a wee bit second half, and with the wind behind us, you know, we got a wee bit of luck with the first goal, obviously. But you know, and after the penalty, with a couple of Magic's had a one-on-one, and with another chance later on, Stillian. So it could have been more comfortable, but I think that would have flattered us, like, you know, and taken a lot away from Livingston today.
Have you been doing your job in keeping the players completely focused after what happened at the end of last season?
Of course, you know, I mean, we'll not forget that, like, you know, but this will obviously go a long way to eradicating the memories of that. But we've still got a bit of work to do. You know, it's no foregone conclusion. Hearts are going for the Champions League, and you know, they've had a great season and a great result yesterday, so they're not giving up just yet. And
a wee word for Sean Maloney. Is he going to be the player of the year, do you think?
Well, I mean, you know, it's unfair to sort of single people out in that, in what's been a productive season for us, but he has had an outstanding season, and shown great temperament, and shown that he's fulfilling the potential that he's shown us over the last 3 or 4 years, and I'm delighted for him because he's worked so hard to get back into the team, and now he's reached the level of consistency that his hard work deserves.
Are you surprised to be so far ahead?
Possibly, yeah. I mean, if you'd have looked at the season as a whole, you know, with a great start Hearts made, and Hibs going well, and obviously Rangers, you know, we've dug in deep, and we've put some great performances together, and all the questions that have been asked of us this season we've more or less answered, like, you know. So, you know, there's still a wee bit of rebuilding to do, and you know, that'll be down to the manager and that, but you know, it augurs well for next season.
And will you be here next season in that rebuilding?
Well, that's a $64,000 question. I mean, the club have made it clear that they want me to stay, and I've maintained that I'll sit down with the manager at the end, when the championship's over, and we'll try and sort things out. I've got a great relationship with him. I'm very, very lucky to have worked under him and Martin O'Neill at the time here. So, I really couldn't have asked any more from him this season.
So do you expect just after the Hearts game, if you do win it then, to sit down with him?
Well, I hope so, yeah. That's the general idea.
Neil, thanks very much.
Cheers, thanks.
I must apologise at this stage for loss of pictures for 5 minutes during the second half. Hopefully that didn't spoil your enjoyment of the match. Your enjoyment of the match if you're a Celtic supporter, I imagine, because they were 2 up by then. Maybe if you're a Livy supporter, you'd already dived behind the couch. But 2-0 it finished for Celtic. 3 more SPL points for them. Another bitter blow for Livingston, because although they've played with lots of spirit since John Robertson took over, they've lost all 5 games under his management, and they've lost a total of 14 goals in that time as well. And Craig, it's a major uphill struggle now for them, isn't it, if they're going to escape?
It is. I think the next 2 games are Craig and I were looking at it. It's Motherwell and Inverness. I don't know in which order exactly, but that's 2 games that they possibly might be able to get something out of, though they're 2 very good sides, both going for the top 6. So you do think, and Craig mentioned earlier, he thinks he need around about 4, possibly 5 points at least before the split, and that would mean winning those 2 games. If they don't do that, then they go into the split in the last 5 games of the season with a real uphill struggle. So I'm sure John will be telling the players there is still a chance. They didn't expect to get anything today. They performed pretty well for 45 minutes, but they've got 2 major games coming before the split. Otherwise, their season's going to die a death, and they're going to be out of touch by the time that comes around.
Neil Lennon was right, wasn't he, Craig, to pay tribute to Livingston and to say that anything more than 2-0 would really have flattered Celtic, because Livingston weren't that far out of it.
No, Neil spoke a lot of sense. I think he was pretty right in just about everything he said there. Losing the goal just after half-time was a killer blow, and the confidence of the Livingston players just now is pretty low because of what's happened and a cumulative effect throughout the season of losing matches. And they didn't have the sort of reserves of mental strength to draw on to get back into the match. But I think since John's been here, I mean, I haven't seen a lot of Livingston before John was here, but since he's been here, I detect an air of optimism about the place. And I think they played reasonably well again today, and it augurs well for the future. But,
optimism, which probably means rebuilding in the First Division, does it?
Yeah, I think you're probably right at that, and I don't... you've got to be a realist, haven't you? And at this minute in time, although nobody around this place would admit it, it's going to be very, very difficult for Livingston to stay up. I genuinely hope they do, but the future's quite bright. I think. I think John understands that when he arrived here, there was the possibility that the club would have to go back down and start again, and they've got the right man at the helm for that.
Gordon Strachan has picked up silverware already in his first season of Scottish football management, last Sunday's CIS Cup, and he's within touching distance now of the big prize, the Championship trophy. 1 win away, here he is with Scots.
Gordon, to describe that win today, could we use that word yet again, comfortable?
With the first half, they were good. They were right good. They used the conditions well. They put a lot of thought into it. We didn't play the conditions. We tried to play, how people would expect us to play on the perfect surface, no wind, no rain. We tried to play that, which wasn't suitable today. I thought we could have been more direct and given them more problems. So they used the wind well, and then when they could cross it, they put the ball in the box, and we had to defend really well, centre halves and full-backs for the crosses. So they were very good in the first half. We shown glimpses. We could have met the bar and had some chances. And the second half, I think, with the wind, it was more suitable for us, actually. And to get that goal right away was a killer for Livingston. But then we went on to produce some good football for 15 minutes. Then we got a bit lazy for the last 25 minutes, which was a problem.
I mean, what was said at half-time? Because things changed right away, didn't they?
Nothing to do with a team talk. That was just reality check. That was just players doing what they're meant to do properly. And again, the conditions made it easy for us.
And Paul Telfer, why the change?
Ricked his neck. And I think that was from his head being at a 45-degree angle away from me all during the first half, as I was trying to speak to him. He was giving me that fantastic rubber ear. So he's wrecked his neck by giving me the rubber ear, so he's got himself off.
While we're on injuries, Mark Wilson, how bad is it?
Groin strain, don't know how bad it is just now. Heavy going out there, sticky going today. It wasn't easy to move the ball about. So that kind of sapped his energy, and I think you get the groin strain from that.
Yet again, Sean Maloney pulls out another goal, 6 games in a row now. Is he Player of the Year?
I don't know. He's one of our better players, that's for sure. And so we've had some good players here this year. You know, Lennon, Nakamura, McManus. You know, Zaraski's goal per game ratio is better than anybody's. And so we've had a few for our club. So I'm only interested in our club, to be honest with you.
You seem to be able to turn the screw just at the right time so often this season. Is that a sign of champions?
No, it's a sign of good players. You can only be champions when people, you know, you're crowned as champions. It's a sign of good players at the moment who didn't play great the day, but as I said, the conditions had a lot to do with it. So when we did get the space to play, I thought we were better, but not as good as we have been.
Looking forward to the Hearts game now?
Yeah, we're looking forward to that. So it's great to have your destiny in your own hands, that's for sure.
You'd like to close it out quickly, wouldn't you?
Of course I would. I wouldn't like to prolong it, that's for sure. But I'll tell you what, Hearts are a good side, and we have to be at our best at Celtic Park to beat them.
Look forward to that one, Gordon, and all the best.
Dear Scott, thank you.
Cheers, pal.
Scott wishing he'd won that name badge so he could remember who he was. Gordon Strachan, not in